But so Adam, you want to explain what's different between like the Pro League and Amateur League?
Yeah, no, I'm the admin of the Pro League for the U.S., which is essentially people who've been originally we didn't have the Pro and Amateur at the beginning. It was just one congregate league, and eventually the people that consistently won in the playoff teams, they all decided, you know what, we need a higher league because this is getting a little bit ridiculous. We're spending our entire season beating up on the new kids, and they're not liking it, we're not liking it. So we made the Pro League, which was the first season, only 16 teams, and we played interdivisional games, and we played more often, kind of between each other, probably in practices and things like that. But you played still the 10 games, but you played within divisions. You had a smaller playoff, and then the first time it wasn't every series wasn't 3 of it, was it?
Just the last two rounds. The first round was just best of 1 game, and the other games were best of 3 series.
Yeah, so for the playoffs for the Pro, now it's almost all best of 3 series. Usually the first round is the first one, but it's really the higher. It offers more to the people who've been around a while. If you want to get into it, you play a few seasons now in amateur. If you make the playoffs a few times, you're a known entity essentially, and you submit it. I just say send me an email with your roster, what they've done, etc., and I'll be the decider and probably piss you off if you're not getting in. But I'm good at that, so I can accept that. So no, a lot of people get in. I think generally the people who know they should get in tend to get in because they don't want to play the Cannonballs that Obo Crazy was on when they existed, or the Grunts of Fury that have won the championships many times. They don't want to do that, and the separation is pretty good. So
I hear Cannonball's all host though. I don't know what you heard.
I'm pretty sure Obo Crazy was the host on Cannonball. That's at least what I heard.
Most of the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Bebop and I would use our feminine wiles all of the time to win all of our Cannonball games.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, they did have specially made female armor at that time.
Yes, we'd come running at you with hammers and go, panties. You can't imagine the number of generals who would fall for that time and time again. Double experience weekends are so much fun. Come play with me. It's lots of fun.
So all of you guys,
Yes, that's what she
how many of you guys actually play in the WXP weekend? Just a show of hands, like who actually plays? All right, that's
like everyone.
sweet. How many of you guys have come across games where there's one dominant player completely destroying you?
Welcome to
That's host. But we actually have a way of kind of making host less dominant in the Pro League. Do you want to go into that a little bit?
It's actually available in the Amateur League too, but it's not required like it is in Pro.
Thank you for stealing my mic, by the way, while I was mid-sentence.
No, I wanted
No, it is in both, but the first game we had as neutral host was in the first Pro League Championship. Essentially, we have somebody that is a known host puller. They've pulled host consistently all season. People say, it's a pretty clean host. Like we say, there's not a lot of teleporting. There's no. Sometimes they're really dominant on the host, but nobody else is really so dominant that it's just crushing the other team. And we have a separate map set up where you have to run through teleporters to get onto the field at the beginning of the round, and then you respawn normally. But you run onto the field, and the guy who's host doesn't run onto the field, runs backwards and watches the game from the top. And because he doesn't have host, neither team has an advantage that way. And I mean, there is still minor issues. People will complain about connecting better to the host and they have an advantage, but it's still a lot different, and it's a lot more fair a game. And quite honestly, I think it's made more arguments than it's made like agreements, because people will argue more that we're a better team because we beat you on neutral host and etc. But overall, I think it's been a good thing, and we're definitely going to continue to do that. So.
Just because you pull host doesn't mean you'll be good. Trust me.
Yeah, on the serious side, Cannonball actually very rarely pulled host. And a lot...
You sound defensive.
Crows?
A little defensive.
Okay, we would pull host sometimes, but in general, a better team or a more organized team will always beat out a better host. Always. If you have better teamwork, it doesn't matter how far your hammer is or how far your sword lunges.
Unless you have certain people, I don't know. In recent years, I know our team actually.
We're going to start this argument, aren't we? This is.
I'm gonna have to call
We've been
this to a
having this
stop.
argument since.
Adam, no. I know how you argue. You do not change your mind. You're done.
Okay, I guess I'll give this one up.
Well, I was going to say, it's interesting how very small changes in the game from iteration to iteration, meaning Halo, can really affect custom games. What you're talking about, the teleporters, there was a very small change made from Halo 2 to Halo 3 where they didn't allow multi-team capture the flag and multi-team assault, which is what Grifball is based on. It's like we didn't even know that had gone away from the game until we were trying to do crazy stuff like add a green team in, and the green team is a team of spectators. We had skyboxes and stuff like that in the sky where they'd spawn. And then we went through all the work of making the maps and making the spawns, and then, oh, we can't add a green team in. What are you going to do? So it's really interesting that just little tiny tweaks that they make between the iterations of the game can really affect on a big level for us.
I remember actually within a week of me starting Grifball, I started about maybe a day after the maps went public. One of the first things I did, I was like, okay, I'm going to add a skybox and I'm going to have a green team. And then I worked for hours on a map and then went to test it and realized that the entire thing was an absolute waste because I couldn't do anything with a green team.
Yeah. And it's going from capture the flag as well, so.
Yeah.
Or they make changes in Halo that are controversial even in Halo. Like, I think we all remember when they changed how the beatdowns happened in Halo.
The updates, yeah.
And that changed Grifball huge because all of a sudden now people would hammer each other and die. Or, the Griff carrier would go to beat someone down and be red bar and both people would die. And there was a lot more death all of a sudden, which was fun. Death is always good. But it changed the way it changed a lot of the strategy of the game.
I think in the end that ended up being a good thing because it added kind of another aspect to the game, especially with somebody who has a dominant host. Often, if you're lucky, you can come up to him with a sword and you can update him. That's a higher percentage kill.
You want to explain update really quick? You just used update in a sentence. You can update. That's a term we use.
Oh yes, sorry, I get right. The update, because it's the melee update. We've shortened it to just when you lunge at someone with a sword and they hammer back at you and you both die. We just generally refer to that as an update, or a patch, I suppose. Just some lingo, so you can hang with the big boys.
We do have a glossary at
We're such
grifball.com. It needs to be updated.